My name is Nick Abrams. I'm with Hello Light, and I am the founder slash creative director there at Hello Light.
Your experience with Driven has been with the Bold leadership class. When did you
Yeah,
attend the Bold class?
yeah. I had the opportunity to go in October of 2023, so almost 8, 9 months ago from
Okay.
from today. So yeah, it's wild how time flies, but the impact of that event, it carries on from like this 3 day thing. It carries on even months later.
So at Bold, obviously there is it's really built and marketed towards business owners, business leaders. But then, as you know, there's a lot of personal breakthrough that happens, and so I want to kind of start there. What was the impact on your personal life in the aftermath of the Bold class?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it. I was looking back at some of the things I was journaling about during the class and things I was writing down. And I was like, man, this is, it's presented as a leadership thing, but it was really about an interpersonal me thing, which just sounds weird. It's like understanding and digging into my mind and my mindset and my psychology and kind of getting that adjusted or tweaked or sort of a reflection of myself in a mirror that I had never seen before. And then that adjustment trickles down to the business side, that trickles down to the people that I'm connected to, that trickles down to everything else. But it started with this like personal, emotional clarity that I sort of had never been put in a situation to see before. Um, so it impacted, the people that I'm working with, but it also impacted, the relationship with my wife. That's kind of core, super important relationship. And it also impacted the way I interact with my kids. Like if I can see myself in a different light, then my kids see that and it impacts them as well. So it really was this sort of like inside out transformation for understanding or revelation that then trickles down into like every part of the things you're doing, business of course, but also like wife and kids. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a little more core than just like business leadership stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And going into Bold, were you expecting that? What were your expectations whenever you signed up and you're like, yeah, let's go
Yeah.
do this Bold
So
thing?
honestly, I didn't have too many expectations. They kind of keep it a little under the lid. I hadn't, I'd been given the opportunity to go from one of the places I partner with called The Cause, and they kind of given me this opportunity, and it was sort of last minute, and so I didn't really have many expectations, but I knew it would be something that maybe would put me out of my comfort zone, and I think at the time I just needed that, and it was something that was important. So I didn't have too many expectations, but I think they kind of wanted to keep it that way, like so that you come in with an open mind and kind of like a clean slate.
So then, like you kind of alluded to, you go and you have this personal breakthrough, and then it's inevitable that it translates to the business as well. And of course, you have a couple of things that you're involved in. What was the big impact when you came back from Bold and you kind of had
Yeah.
this motivation and the drive? What was the result of that?
Yeah, well, one of the beautiful things about Bold is they're not setting you up to have like this flash in the pan moment where it's like this big experience and then you go and it goes away. It's like they set you up to create, repeatable patterns that are going to impact your daily life. And so one of my patterns that I sort of set up was, you know, with Hello Light is sort of like a startup that's working with nonprofits to help them, tell their story in a creative way and use my creative gifts to empower nonprofits. But I was kind of keeping it under the hood. And so one of the things that I started doing was like, I'm going to tell people about it. It sounds so simple, but it was like, one of the goals was like, if I can just tell, a couple people a week about the things that I'm doing, it's gonna have a big impact on it getting off the ground and growing. Being confident in myself to know that I'm gonna change the world, that I'm gonna have an impact, that I'm gonna make the world better through my gifts, um, and I can bring people alongside me. So I think it was that confidence translated into actionable steps that translated into sharing the story of what I was doing and creating more momentum in the projects that I was working on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love what you were saying about when you came back, you're like, oh, I just need to tell people about this. I was just talking to Christy, and it's this recurring pattern as I do all of these testimonials that,
Yeah,
and it's true for even myself of like, you go and at Bold, if you boiled it really far down,
Mm-hmm.
it's like people are just you're given permission to be yourself and to do the things that you know you need to do, but we all have this lid on that's been put on through a lot of different factors, and it's that lid is taken off, and it's like, no, you can go tell people about this. You can do this.
The lid's comfortable, and it's like I'm way more safe in my little lidded whatever, and to kind of have someone say like, hey man, it's safe out here without the lid, like you're good, like you can survive without the lid, and you're fine, and you take it off and you're like, oh yeah, I needed a space and someone to break me out of this mindset. Really, it's really mindset stuff.
So if you were talking to another business owner, another business leader, or anybody else, they've seen of Bold. As you said, we kind of keep the curtains drawn pretty tight on the processes in Bold, so that they're as impactful as they can be. So there's some people that are a little trepidatious about coming into this thing that they don't really know a lot about. What would be some advice, or just something you'd say to somebody who's on the fence? What would you say to kind of push them and be like, no, this is absolutely something that you need to do?
If you're content and happy with how everything is now, then don't go. But if you feel like you need something to change or something to push you, or you want to break through in some way, it doesn't matter what it is, then go. I mean, if there's like a question of, do you think will it be impactful in my business or in my life? The answer is probably yes. In the sense that, like, what other place or what other chance are you going to be put in a situation where you kind of see what you're made of, and you kind of see yourself objectively in a safe, like, contained environment? Yeah, the chances, the opportunities for those things aren't frequent. So if you're kind of like on the fence and thinking maybe I should go, well, just go and you'll find out. And you can sort of see the evidence of what every person that's gone through Bold comes out on the other side. Like, just look at that, and then maybe have that help make your decision. So,
well, look, before I let you go, I always have an open floor. If there's do you have any other thoughts about Driven or Bold that you may have thought of that I didn't have a question that sparked? Any thoughts before I let you go here?
I think, like, one of the big things is, like, for the people that are potentially going to go, keep an open mind, and you kind of get out of it what you're willing to put into it. And vulnerability is hard for anyone, and to be put into kind of like a situation where you're not comfortable is really hard. But that's where all of our transformation comes. The tension creates movement. So be open and willing to just kind of be into what they're doing, and also remember, like, the team that's there really, really care about you, and you're there for a reason, and they have refined and worked on this process because they really want to see transformation. And so keeping that in mind is like, these things are there ultimately for your good, and to transform you, to transform your business. And you can see the fruit of that in all the people that have gone through it, and the organizations that have people that have gone through it. So
yeah, love it.